Cosmic A kind of opened up your mind to a different structure of kind of cracked your cosmic egg as far as opened your mind to kind of see the world functions a little different and Dee-ni way up. Dee-ni way up. So we're just looking at some simple stuff like and what I've been training you to understand about these symbols is that first, second, singular, second person singular, and third person singular are talking about a verb paradigm in this case. A paradigm means a list of words. A paradigm is a list of ideas. Okay, so this is a verb paradigm beginning. And so what does the first person mean in English? An English example? I, not do I, me, exactly, and it's only just one person, one verb, one human being. So second singular is you, yeah, and then singular for third singular is he, she, it. Okay, right. So you don't want to move off of the plurals yet. And just for the sake of further discussion, so there's one D, two D, one P, 2P, and 3P, and then the P. Okay. Now, by analogy, you should be able to tell me now, if we know first singular is I or me, right, then what is first plural then? We. Yeah, so this is where it goes off to we. It can go to us. Right. Okay. Correct. So second singular then, it means you. So what does second plural mean?
They.
Do they? Do they?
You guys?
You guys. You guys. Right.
You people.
You guys.
Y'all.
You
Y'all.
people.
Y'all. That's the y'all form of the verb. The y'all form. Okay. And then 3P, if the third singular means he, she, it, who's third plural then?
Those.
Them, they, right? So that's them. They, okay, and thosins, okay, because we could have usins and so forth, but we don't. Okay, let me see. I was going to have you look at what page is it? I put it on here. When I put it on here, the page. Thought I made notes for myself on there, but maybe I didn't.
You have 108 for word order.
Okay, no, on page 112. Take a look at page 112.
First one.
Where it ends, he, she, or it.
Is it on here?
We do right here, way down here. The pronouns person.
Oh, okay, this is, okay, so 112 and 117. Okay, so 112, take a look at 112. John Tasinta? Oh, and Chelet Nela
Put
Tasinta.
another one on that side.
Okay, so if you look at that, on that 112, you can see here is 1S, 2S, 3S, 1D, 2D, 3D in parentheses, okay, and then 1P, 2P, 3P, and P. Okay, so now, so this D represents the idea of dualism, two, okay? And if you'll notice, I didn't even think about putting 3D in here. It's so rare, is why. It just, so rare. Okay, so again, I, you, he, she, it, right? So first dual would be who then? First dual. Just two beings. So first dual, that's I is this, and this is we, and who's first dual? Who would first dual be? Only two people. Let's. Okay, so let's start out with let's as the idea, okay? And we, okay? Because we in English can be either the two of us, or it can be the all of us, or it can be the three of us, right? I mean, okay. And so then this is I to us, let's, this could be usins. And then second dual, second singular then is going to be you, so what's second dual? It's two people, so what's that going to be? You two. Yeah, so it's you two. And then third dual would be who then? If this is he, she, or it, this is going to be those what? Two. Those two. Because the language shows you to or it has a way for pronouns. Now flip to page 117, and you'll see them isolated. They're very abstractly isolated. So on 117, you're going to see these pronouns available to you there. Okay? So if you look at the first column, it says present. Okay. So the symbol for or the sound segment for I is sh. Okay? Shh. Comes from the word she, which means I. She. Okay? Sh. Okay? And then you can see going down the chart, that second singer is going to be, what is it? Or a tilde, okay? And we went through some examples last week on how we arrive at those. And what does third singular pronoun look like? Do, die. Okay, so it's null. Okay, now, going on down the chart, at first dual, that pronoun looks like what? Tell me what, read those to me in first dual. It's going to be, what is it? Eat, or it's going to be ite. Correct, eat or ite. So you can see then, this means you and me, okay? And it can look like eat or ite, depending on the vowels in the verb. Second dual is, what is it? Read it to me. Ooh, not ooh. Ooh. Okay. Ooh, very important. Not ooh. Ooh. Yeah. Okay. Is there anything else available in that slot? Okay. All right. So now what's going to happen is maybe what you were thinking of when you said that. Okay. Probably what you were thinking of is now what you do to pluralize these to make them plural. So coming from you and me to we all. You're adding the sound the. See? So it goes from eat to eat. This means plural. See, it's making it more. Or it's going to be light, depending on the verb. It can be either one. Okay, the verb will tell you. It's not just a random thing. But again, this is like an abstract, pulling it out. And then the next one is, it's not on here. Wait, here.
Because you can't have a vowel without a
It's who. So look at what happened to who. See, oo turned to who. Okay, see, it's gotten greater. See, this GH sound or ha is a pluralizer. See, it's making it more. Okay, so eat, or ite, light. So oo, who. Okay. All right, and then the last one is complex, more complex, okay? And the reason is, and we talked about this last time, see it says he, hui, ya, and la. Okay, now, we were talking about basically the two major kinds of verbs, the types. Do you remember what they were at all? The two major types of verbs. Verbs can either be transitive, or they can be intransitive. If they're a transitive verb, what's there? How do we know they're
object?
Huh?
They have an object.
They have to have an object to complete the thought. They require an object, right? And for example, like hit, kick, anything that requires an object, right? To complete the thought. Intransitive are verbs that we do on our own. So we sleep, we talk, we think. We could be thinking about, there's the thinking about form, but then I'm thinking, don't bother me. That's intransitive, Dee-ni. Okay, well, actually, okay, well anyway. So that's why you have two different pronouns. You have a he pronoun and you have a hui pronoun. So what this chart is telling us, so he means that it's transitive. So what you do to get to the 3P, so I'm going to erase this for now. Okay, so the 3P that's transitive, so if you have a transitive verb like yastat, to kick something. Chasne shra was yastat, the man the ball is kicking. Okay, so that's got a Y in it, so the verb looks like this, yas, hut. Okay, I should write clearer since you guys see it for the first time. So yas, hut. Say this with me. Yes.
Yeah.
That's somebody kicking something. Okay, that's a transitive verb. Now, what I've talked to you about up here in first and second, where do we inject the pronoun? So if we had, what did we do last time? What's some of the verbs we did last time, do you recall? Or what some of the ones we did?
To go, naga, or what are we doing? Does it matter?
Just doesn't matter, but we.
Oh, naga, dasta.
Okay, did we, okay, I'm trying,
Shoot, what else we do? Tishish. I think we changed that one. What else do we do?
what I was showing you is that you take, like, okay, let's take a new verb, he lost, which means to sleep.
We did buying, going.
Oh, okay, buy, okay, let's do that.
We
So,
bought apples.
you
Apples.
height, okay, you height, he or she is buying it, okay? And this one here is, height, and this one is bush height, I'm buying it, okay? And there we recognize that inside of the verb is the S, inside of the verb is the M, and this one here is on the outside, there's the object, okay? All right, but the slot for pronouns is right here, okay? Now in the plurals, it changes a little bit. Okay, so we don't try to stick an XXE in here. So this, for a transitive verb, we're adding an X, I'll write down here so I can erase it. We're adding che, che. You don't try to go, okay? It goes on the outside and the front. Okay, so it goes right here. So when you pluralize that with a transitive verb, you're going to say che. So you take the third singular verb. Let me just put the same verb in there so we can see the consistency. Okay, so che yu height. They are buying it. Che yu height. They are buying it. See? Yu height, he or she's buying it, right? Che yu height, they are buying it. Okay, with the transitive verb, because it has a Y in it, that tells you it's transitive, that tells you that it needs an object, right? So the next one talks to us here, written here is hui, okay? So I'll write it down here for now, okay, hui. So now we need an intransitive verb. What was the you had said last time, just now? You said an intransitive verb that we did last time.
Go.
Yeah.
I know, but this.
Sleep, cry, sit, stand, talk.
Okay, so let's just do cry.
Yeah, we had go.
Shra, shra, right? Shra, you are crying, and shra, I'm crying. Okay. So shra, shra, all right. These are intransitive because you really can't cry somebody. I'm crying him today. It doesn't even make sense, right? We're gonna cry you all today.
Give you a reason to cry.
Give you a reason to cry.
When somebody says, "Oh, you're making me mad," is that an intransitive or transitive? Because in counseling, they say you can't make anybody mad.
Yeah.
That's a being, right?
Yeah, because being mad in Dee-ni is intransitive. Dai shesa, I am hot. I'm livid, right? Dai
So it's
shesa.
intransitive.
Yes, so if you're, you know, what you're saying causes me to be angry, then you have to say it the same way in English. I mean, yeah. The way you're talking to me is why I'm getting mad. So yeah,
So it's intransitive.
it's intransitive. Yeah, yeah. So over here now, so we got a shra, one person is crying. Now we need to pluralize it for the intransitive. Intrans. So hui e shra. Okay. Hui e shra. Hui e shra. All are crying, see? The word hui by itself means all. Give me all of your money. Hui just give me all your money.
That's what my ex-husband said.
Huh?
That's what my ex-husband
That's right.
ex-husband did.
Oh, the verb. You see, I'm showing you that. See it, because here it happened inside, right? And remember the verbs, the inflection spot's right there. And it's always, remember, it's always zero. There's no pronoun for third singular. It's always a zero. Okay. So that's how those work. Now there's two more examples in this chart. There is ya and ga. Now ya is interesting, and it works on a very small set of verbs. I'm not quite sure why. but maybe if you study the language long enough, you'll figure it out. And that is ya, so I'll write it down here for now, ya. And ya means they. Okay, if I said, ya, he just ya na. Who is that man talking for? You know, I want to know who he's talking for. Ya. Okay, so it's a plural. Anyway, so if I take the word to sing, this is one of the exceptions. Ya de yan. They are singing. So it's a they are singing. And is singing transitive or intransitive? What do you think? Does it require an object? It's intransitive. Yeah, I'm singing, you're singing. Again, I'm going to sing you today. Doesn't quite make sense, right? So it's also intransitive. So you got two forms. And then since I've written this book, and we've done some more comparative linguistics, we've been looking at the la form of the plural. And so the la form,
So would you say ya e shra?
ya e shra would be,
Yeah,
you could say it structurally in our heads, but if you said ya e shra, to me that would mean that you came through crying.
Oh, okay.
It changes it, so it's like say you came in the office just bawling your eyes out the back door. Well, he went through the back door, he went through the house crying. So ya e shra.
I see.
Yeah, so you couldn't say it that way, it wouldn't make the same meaning. Yeah. But hui e shra, they're all crying.
We extra.
Hui.
We.
Okay, now what's interesting with ga, it's also a pluralizer, and it works well in intransitive verbs, okay? But look at what it's related to, y'all. Look at the ga here and the ga here. See it right there? I find that interesting. So it went from dual to plural with that, and it's also over here as a pluralizer, okay? Now the difference we found out, or we think we might have been discovering by comparative analysis, so na, let me see, can I do it here? No, I can't, darn it. Na, la, ta. Okay, na, la, ta. Okay, nasta is running. Na, lasta, they are running. Now, when I have worked with various speakers throughout my lifetime, you can also say correctly, hui nasta. Okay? So there's a pair here that you can actually say, hui nasta. Okay? So hui nasta. Either one of these are correct in this case. Now this is a case where you can do them that way. Okay? So you got na nasta and hui nasta. So you talk to one speaker and they preferred hui nasta. You talk to another speaker and they preferred na nasta. Okay? Or sometimes you talk to them and they preferred the reverse. Okay? So what that tells you is that this la and hui have different operations. And so what they think there are other linguists, scientists who study language, Athabascan specifically, and what they think that they're observing in other areas. So the nice thing about doing comparative analysis, since, remember at the beginning, we all started on the same fire, you know, had the same dog and the same whatever, and we spread across North America, however that was, wherever we started from. So as these languages have moved off to different parts of North America, their grammar has gone with them, right? And so they still practice their grammars as they learned it from their ancestors, who learned from their ancestors. So ultimately, we're all sitting at the same campfire, however long ago that was. Was that 1 million years ago? Was it 100,000 years ago? Was it 10,000 years ago? We don't know, okay? But what they think they're observing is this. So if we are looking outside the playground, and we say, "Shriche na nashta," the kids are running, right? Versus "Shriche hui nashta," the children are running. The difference semantically is that these guys are all running in unison. Where these kids are running erratic, like there's a puddle over here running, there's a puddle over there running, there's a puddle over there running. So they might be all running right now, but not in the same event. These are all running in the same event. So they're all got down, hunkered down, they're all racing, see? So all the kids out there are running, yes, but they're running in unison or in one event. Where these are all running, yeah, they're sporadic all over. There's 10 bunches of kids out there, they're all running in different directions. So that's the difference between hui, possibly, this is a positive theory, and ga. This is why they both exist in the language. and why you can flip back and forth. And on a given day, if you were talking to a fluent speaker and you looked outside and you said, oh, the kids are all running, what if they were all running at the same time? Because we didn't know to ask them. They say, nagashita. And then you look outside, there's again a patch running over there and a bench running over there. They say, hui nagashita, because they're all running separately. So that might explain why we have two forms of the verb, how to pluralize a form of verb. So that's what these are about. So we've got he, which is for transitive verbs, and we've got hui, ya, and ga for intransitive verbs. Okay, to make plurals. How you make plurals. And notice the position of this one is back on the inside, just like it is up here. Inside, 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 inside. These are outside. And over time, all languages migrate, evolve, and change. And this is how then, if a language is separated long enough apart from another language, it will develop eventually its own patterns, its own sound structure, and yet it will still have the same ancestor language, same mother language, but that's how you get different languages, okay? They start out with dialects, and then they turn into different languages over time, okay? So a dialect is the first step to change. And after that, if they get separated long enough, they don't get intermarried anymore and go to the same dances anymore and end up fighting each other in war or whatever happens, whatever happens over time, they'll become two daughter languages of the mother language, okay? But first they're dialects. Oh, you say it like that. I say tomato, you say tomato. Well, Crick and creek. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, stuff like that. That's how languages evolve, naturally. Okay, so this is how this chart is working for us. And this is so you can see why it's abstract, because we're just pulling out this core data right out of the parts of the verbs and stuff. So this is what we discovered and have been able to map onto this chart for you. Okay, the one I haven't spoken to kind of finish up last week is the P. Okay, the P is the passive. Okay. And if we, like when you type a sentence in your computer and the little green line will come across the bottom, it'll say passive voice. You could have said that stronger, instead of being so subtle or so, whatever, vague. Okay, vague. So that's where the word passive comes in here. Because at this point, we have some pronouns available. I guess they're pronouns. They look pretty stark. They're TR, SRT, and WXW. Okay, that's and that is t, and that is hua. And what we find is that verbs can be made passive. And as I described to you a couple of weeks ago, passive is, what is a passive voice or a passive verb in Dee-ni? Remember how a passive would work? How would, in English example, what would that mean?
Someone, not anyone in particular.
Somebody, someone, who? Who is it that goes out and hollers at night? Every night, there's somebody goes on their back porch and hollers. Who is that? See?
Dang airplane.
Oh, I hate that thing.
Like every Tuesday night, somebody runs past my house. Who is it? That kind of thing. So you don't know who owns the verb. See, here we know who owns it. I do. We know who owns this one. We two own it. We're doing it. This one, they are doing it. Oh, somebody is doing that. Okay. See what I'm saying? So now we'll go back to Yuchheit. Okay, that we know a man or a woman or something is buying something. Yuchheit. But if I want to make that passive, somebody always buys the orange ones and leaves the black ones. All right. So what you do is you change this transitive marker, this Y right here, to a TR. Okay, and it becomes Truchheit. Truchheit. So now, maybe Srini Steinchik Hush. He is Dangreikischkeit ut in Truchheit. There's always that one person that always comes and buys the orange colored, or ones that look like oranges. Okay, so now this then also becomes a candidate to become a noun. Buying blue is always good. See, it changes its form. See, now that to become buying, like buying too much can break your budget. So buying is now a noun. It's no longer a verb. See, so it can change its class from being a verb to a noun. See, that's where, so it gets to go to another part of the grammar.
So
It's
under passive.
under passive. Passivization helps create nouns, okay?
The kingfisher, weren't we talking about that?
Trulu ne.
There you go.
Yeah, so chulu, right? So chulu is someone who fishes, right? Chulu. Oh, I'm trying. Chu. So trulu is fishing, right? And there's three ways to say fishing, right? There's tai leish, trulu, cha hash. Okay, depends on the type of fishing you're doing, right? So kingfisher is this person. Well, in our minds, he's a person. He's a bird. And that we're gonna personify it by adding ne. Okay, so I have to add another vowel here, and I got to put ne because this makes him into a thing like a This is the equivalent of in English. Talk see do Okay, all right. Ian, republic Okay. Ik, domestic or something. See what I'm saying? Okay, so that makes a noun. But you also change this right here to trulune, okay? So the one who fishes, the kingfisher, see? So it's in the passive voice. Now you could get away with just saying trulune too, probably, if you wanted to make your own new noun up. There's nothing wrong with that. But this is his name, trulune, okay? The one who fishes. So the fisher person, the fisherman. Trulu, yeah, it goes from trulu to trulu. Right, see, that's passivization. That's what this P thing is about. That's what that means, okay? And then like the T, the SR. Let me give you some examples on the SR. I'm going to erase this out of here because, well, I'm just going to erase this out of here. We need room.
Is it TR always for transitive then?
Or is that not safe to say?
It's pretty safe to say that if you're going to make a transitive into a passive, you're going to use the TR. Pretty safe to say.
Because I just do it by what sounds right.
Yes, but, yeah, which is correct to do it that way. But then when we look at the numbers, it's usually a transitive verb that's getting used by TR. Okay, now let's take the verb hot-na. Hot-na. Does anybody know this verb? Top-na. Drinks is drinking. So this is the verb is drinking. Okay. So top-na, he's drinking the water. Okay. Now, see if you recognize this word. Okay, tagashna. What's tagashna? Water. Okay, so the verb up here, this is a verb, means drink. And this is the word water. See how this makes nouns? Because this is a verb, so it's changed its word class from a verb into a noun. So let's look at the elements that are the same. So guess what? We've got a T right here. We got a ta, right? And we've got a na right here. Na. Ta ga ashna. So what's the T? Can be a what? A passive. Look at your list there. And what's the SR? It's a passive. Okay. And we gained a GH in here. Interesting. So we gained a g. Yes, ah. So probably originally was shri, hey, yes, ah. The children's sender, the baby sender, right? And it gets shrunk down to shri, yes, ah. Okay. But now I got it's available. It's a Willie Bob worked with them. There is a group called Wycliffe, and they go around the world, and the way they Christianize people is that they translate the Bible into their people's language. So they'll go to the darkest jungles of South America and New Guinea and Crescent City, California, and they'll come and translate their Bible into your language in the hopes to convert you to their way of thinking, right, and believing, right? And so they actually worked with Willie Bob, and he actually did Noah, the story of Noah in Taloa. And so there it is.
That's why that's always around.
Yeah, because Wycliffe came and worked with him all summer, and they translated the book of the Great Flood. You know, and it's really cute. They have pounding hammers in the back when he's pounding, putting the ark together, and then people laughing and talking, and saws are cutting or whatever, you know, in the background as it's being said. And so to get us to be Christians this way, so, but in there he used the verb form about the one who sent us. So I don't know who's sending us now. So it's not Shreyas, it's just the one who sent us is upset with us because he's going to make a flood, see, and destroy everything, right? So how he said that, which is really nice, was So, and then he, of course, this is an object out here, us, who sent, the one who sent us. This means us. So us who sent us. Okay.
How about the spark of life until what you talk about, you know, when the baby center sends in, there's a spark of life.
Oh, the spirit or the,
What is it? What is it?
well, Shreya, the heart.
Yeah.
Shreya.
You're talking about the.
Yeah.
The spark of life.
Yeah, Shreya. Yeah, the baby sender and the babies live in the pool of life, right? And then they come and get in the body.
Yeah.
So they're Shreya, their heart or spirit. Yeah. But you can see how this was used to pacifize this transitive verb, yes, to hush. Somebody is sending it. We don't know who's getting it. So it's the creator, I guess. You know what I'm saying? A killer whale, I asked Bernice how to say that, and she says, Te'la huashtrint. So instead of yashtrint, which is killing it, it was huashtrint, the one who kills. So Te'la huashtrint, the one who does the killing. See, it's a passive voice. So that's where I've heard the hua. This is very rare. You don't see hua very often in the language, but it's there. And that's why it's on the list, because it actually exists. The other day, I was out back doing something, and something might have bloomed or something, and I said, what stomp? There's a word, what stomp in our language, which means finally. Like, dang it, finally, you know, what stomp? Well, dump means already. So, what stomp? So if you pick it all apart, and then later I looked at something, and I said to myself, what stomp? It already finally did it. So I went from what stomp to what stomp, and I go, oh no, where'd you come from? Why are you speaking to me? Why did that vocabulary word come into my brain? You know, well, because it already over happened, did it finally. Oh, but the point is that it does exist in the language, and it takes the already and makes it passive, like the thing that happened. Don't right now, you know, already. Don't now, he's already talking, right? So what stomp finally got to the already. The thing that got to the already makes the word finally. Finally you learned something, or you finally finished stacking the wood, or whatever you're doing. Okay, so this chart, so I just kind of want to start here today, kind of push further into what we discussed last Friday about these pronouns. And this, what is it called? It's called inflection, right? You're taking the verb and you're adding information in it. That's inflecting. Remember by calling it an infection. You're taking the verb and you're infecting it with information. You're inflecting it, okay? All right, so growing up, or people learning, you know, this could be very intimidating, but when you teach the language, you never teach the language like this.
Yeah.
This is not how you teach language to a speaker or a learner. This is for your mind to know these things exist in the language. That's what this is. This is why this is a grammar class. This is not, you know, teaching Dee-ni 101 as how you give instruction. You never start the day out saying, we're going to talk about sha today. It means I. You know, that would be the craziest, ridiculous way to teach a language. You teach them things like na sha. You talk to them like na sha, che sha.
Like you learn.
Yeah, just how you hear it. And then eventually you might go, Chong ya, you know, say na sta, not on purpose, but I'm just pointing up to us right now. And then they're going to hear che sha chong ya. Oh, na sta nong sta. And then their ear, and then eventually they will begin to see that that means two different things, right? That's how you teach language.
Like you guys do the language class for the kids.
Yeah, exactly. Now later you can, now if a kid goes,
This would apply,
Man,
yeah.
Lashni, how come I always hear nashta and chaya? Why are they different? You know, whatever. And then you can say, well, she, you know, and then you start out that way. But the point of this is to kind of give you just this big upfront canvas of these are the pronouns. And one thing I want to, is not have you break down the tiers for me today, but is that see, there's 3 more columns.
No.
I know, we're not talking about those today. No, but so just so you know what those are, is that these are what the pronouns look like in the past tense. Okay? Now see, the present tense is very nice. It's sha, la, zero, I, like, hook, he, hui, ya, nga, right? Okay, there they are. Now in the past tense, that's what they look like. And we will talk about those on another day. But just know that these are the past tense forms of language. And again, a chart's job is just to pull the data out and slam it onto a chart.
What does past tense mean?
Past tense means it already happened, right? It's over with. Right. Well, do you remember one day, one of the days I talked about there are 3 past tenses in Dee-ni, one's an S and one's a GH and one's an N. And one's an inceptive past tense, meaning it's starting to become a past tense. One is a durative past tense, it takes a long time to complete it. And the end past tense means it's over. It's done, did, done, did. People hate that, but it's done, did, it's over.
Done did.
Yeah. And again, so that's getting into the mind of the language. Because in English we do it with modals. Like we do it like, he sat, he would have sat, he might have sat if you hadn't talked or something like that.
Or I was about to go to the store.
I was about to sit when the phone rang. See, so what we do is, those are called modals. You take the verb and you add these words around it to change how that's happening. Versus it rang, it began to ring about the time I went out the door. See, so it still rang, but it began to ring, which is past, it began to ring. See, that's present tense. Ring, it's ringing, it's present tense, but it began to ring when I started out the door. So it's in the past, but you're talking about present tense again. See, that's called modality. We'll get into modality too, because we have it as well in Dee-ni. But what's nice about Dee-ni is that the modality is right in S, GH, and N. It's already built within the past tenses. So it just does it differently plus more. But anyway. So this was just to try to re-talk about verb sliding. So ultimately what I'm talking about is verb sliding. Have you heard this vocabulary item before?
In your verb sliding, is there standardization or rhythm to that verb, or it could just go anywhere?
90% of the time.
Yeah, verb slots, verb sliding.
Yeah.
Okay, so verb slots, yes. What was neat, and what we'll do this one day, is I'll show you a diagram of verb slot. And it's the valence of the verb. Okay, so this is where it's important to share the concept that this is a verb-based language. English is a noun-based language. Okay, English loves nouns. It wants to have, everything has to have a name. Every single thing has to have a name. Every type of plastic has that, every kind of baby has to have its own name. It loves nouns. And then it takes a few words and makes a sentence out of it, right? Well, Dee-ni does just the opposite. It puts almost all the information in the verb. So remember I was telling you our verb is really a whole thought? It's basically a whole sentence. Then you add the object or the subject, if you want to. Nashta, I am running. Oh, what nashta, I'm running on the ground. See, I can make where I'm running, but I am running is all in the verb. So what happens is there are these slots of location. So if you're to think of this verb up here, there's going to be a slot for this information, a slot for that information. There's going to be the beginning of the verb, there's going to be the end of the verb, and there's all these slots that are available to the language.
Is that similar to Spanish?
I don't know.
Because they put the action before the noun, or the...
So that's word order.
Yeah.
That would be word order. That's
Yeah.
syntax. Exactly.
Yeah, you conjugate, the doer is conjugated within the verb.
So this chart really is a verb. What this is just a chart of the pronouns, but we're using them in verb slots. Did you notice where I put the TR, like in you height, true height? See, that's a verb slot. That's a slot in the verb. It tells you where to put that data. If I say ush height versus height, you height, that's a verb slot. It tells you where to put that data. Okay. So just again, I'm just into cracking the cosmic egg with you. That's all. That's what I really want to do. Is get your mind to start realizing this language operates a little differently, just very wonderfully. Okay. Yeah. So, all right.
What do you figure out?
Yeah. When you start, seeing the mechanics of it. And as I said last time, or the time before, we talked about language register, and there was like a high class time, people who spoke the high-class language, and people who spoke the common language, you know. And the theorists claim that because our population, well, originally was 10,000, but it ended up being around 2,000 after the Holocaust, that there wasn't enough population to have class of language. And of course, we all chuckled and thought that was ridiculous, because there's always been the Chashayudu, the upper class people who run the government, right, and own all the dentalia shells. And they spoke a different register than maybe somebody who, you know, lived down the hill near the river or something.
What did you call them?
The Chashayu.
No,
Well, Chashayu do.
Said something else.
Yeah, well, the Chashayu.
How you do.
Well, Chash, I, you, do. See, they belong to the
But
Chashayu
you
class.
didn't say the hush first, you can't, is that?
Chashayu do.
You didn't even say it fast.
Oh, Chashayu do. Yeah, Chashayu do. Yeah. Yeah, these were the people who, you know, were, you know, had to run the government and had to settle conflicts and enforce the law, and, you know, make sure that people didn't run them up, you know.
Take care of people.
You know, so on and so on. And so they spoke a different register than me, who just lives down by the river and eats crabs, you know, I don't know, crawdads, you know, whatever, you know, so it's just,
Working for them.
and you were working for that,
I'm
yeah.
paying it off.
Yeah, there's a very nice, jumping subject there, there's a very nice, you know how you do economic structures like pyramids? So here's like the Chashkayu right there, and then right underneath them are the Mi Chashkai.
Those are the warriors.
Yeah, these were the enforcers.
They're law enforcement.
Yeah, so we can get rid of that there.
Is
So
the
Mi
law
Chashkai lived here, and then Mi Chashkai were right beneath them.
Or like the National Guard almost, kind of, right?
Then you have the Dee-ni, and then way down here, a very small percentage are the Chainok. And these are the orphans or the slaves. Okay, we actually
What
had
about the
slaves.
lazy people?
Oh,
They
were the
would end up
warriors.
down here.
They have nothing.
But they have to end up down here. The reason why people ended up in slavery usually was because of
Yeah.
laziness, or choosing to break the law or whatever, you know, and they couldn't pay it off. You know, they
They're
breached
just
law.
passive in there.
Yeah, there's a notch. And that kind of makes me wonder if there wasn't a verb root here at one
Yeah,
time.
that's what I was
We'll
wondering.
say chain notch you.
Like something they didn't do or something.
Chain notch you means slavery, you
Yeah.
know, or, yeah. So anyway, so that's kind of how the society was structured in the day, right?
Slaves or what?
Chain notch.
Or
Slavery.
Chain notch.
Oh.
Or orphans. Orphans. The story about when probably right in the hardcore of the Holocaust, when the government brought the Wiyats and the Eel River Indians to the Smith Reservation. This is an example of this. So they got to the Klamath River and they were herding the Indians up from Humboldt Bay right after they did Penyanon massacre and all that kind of stuff. And so they were pushing the Indians to bring them. We had our reservation was 17,000 acres, right? And so they made them come here. Okay, the Wiyats and the Eel River Indians came here. On the Requa side, refused to bring them across the river in the canoe because they knew they were taking them to the concentration camp. So the Indian law was at that time is that if you own a boat and someone's on the other side, you had to go get them. You couldn't just go nanner. You know, it's like, you know, especially again a stranger. You know, you're ferrying them across the river, and they could pay you. I mean, you know, there was that kind of stuff too. But they refused this time. They refused to ferry them across the river because they knew where they were going. They were going to the concentration camp. So they were puddled up on the south side of the Klamath River for a few days. Well, in the meanwhile, of course, you know, people ran off or whatever, got caught and brought back. Well, this one young man got away, and he got up the Klamath River and took off and made it clear to Peckmore. And so he hid out. And he went to a man's house named Kerr Murr. He was a Hashhayu. So Kerr Murr took him in, right? Well, what is his status? He's a Chainosh, right? He wasn't one of his cousins, he wasn't a nephew, he wasn't a family member, he was not from his village, he was a Wiyot or a Wailaki. Yeah.
So can that also be a stranger?
Yeah, in this case. So then finally the cavalry told okay, you two women, swim the river then. Men swim the river, they washed out the Mountain River and drowned him. So the men okay, we'll go ferry them across the river, they're gonna do that today. So they did, they ferried them all across. So by that time the young man had gotten away. So he's up there living with Kerr Murr up on the Peckmore. And So about this time in history, a huge, really bad influenza or something went amongst the people. They got high fevers, and they all knew that the day that they got that fever, and so many days they died. Anyway, so since he was a chain arch, and he was welcome to be there. Now the chain arch is what? They would be the canoe paddler, the duck plucker, the hunter, the woodpacker, the water carrier, you know. But when they were old enough to be married, he would buy them a wife. I mean, they weren't like pent up and made to live in cages or anything, but they just had their status, right? And so then that's when he would, you know, he would take care of him. And if they went to war, he'd fight for him. You know, I mean, that kind of stuff. But he still, in terms of the strata of society. And so anyway, unfortunately, it's a very sad story. But so he got the sickness, and he got really hot. And so Kermer knew that then he was going to die. Because everybody else who got this fever died. And I'm not sure what it was. It was probably about 18. See, this became a reservation 62. So it was in the 1860s when this happened. And so he got really ill. So Kermer told his Michashkai, go dig his grave. Because they knew it was coming anyway, right? And so then how they used to lower him in the grave was on a plank, with ropes on it. And they lower him down. You have to lift him out of the hole 3 to 4 times because it's like you're giving birth back into the earth. That's what, like you're passing out of your mother while you're passing out into your mother, right? Anyway, so they go through that and they lower him down the grave, So he goes, Kermer, what are you doing? And Kermer goes, I am burying you. And so he was buried, so he would spread the disease to the rest of the village. Anyway, those are harsh times, but call it, whatever, harsh makers, but that's you. And there's great stories. There's one it's called The Way We Live, and it's about one village had to settle this problem, so he ended up becoming a slave. And then the headman, everyone says, oh, you can go home and visit, Because they were, like I said, they didn't whip them, and it wasn't that kind of a relationship. But one day he was fishing on the beach, and they noticed that every time he'd go for smelts, he'd get a little further and further away, and so of course he'd always come back. But this one time he ran away, and the Hushai says, he's done, so he got to go home. They paid off their debt, whatever. But so society was like this, and so to say that we didn't have register in our language is completely wrong. There was a register of speech that these people owned. And at Nadash, this is what's supposed to happen is that in Nadash, during intermission, when you have a dance and a break, the Chashchayu are supposed to stand before the people and elocute to them. It's called Huenesh. It's to give a speech. And they're supposed to elocate to them about life and prosperity and the goodness of being alive and welcome to this place and encourage the people to be happy and rejoiceful. And so this is called Huenesh, and that is to orate. And they would get up and speak to the people, and then the line would come out, So this is a piece of the Chashchayu. That's why we definitely know we're part of the Pacific Northwest culture. We're not a Californian culture or Pacific Northwest.
Are there any remnants of that kind of structure today?
No. I mean,
At all?
no, we do storytelling, that's about it. But no, it will be someday. Right? Yeah, so that's the old structure right there. And so this is where language class, and I think what my estimation is that high class language just means that, not just means, what it means is that you have full inflectional ability. You can take anything that your mind is thinking about and transform it into a noun or a verb. Just, and say those things you need to say. You can truncate things together, you can compose new things. And I watched 2 linguists fight about this in 1995. My master, who I was being trained under, was Tom Gavon, and he was going up head-to-head with Victor Gola, and who was an Athabascanist, okay? And he's also an anthropologist. And so he knows the grammar very well of the Dee-ni grammar, the Dee-ni grammar. And so Tom was learning our grammar, right? And I'm the speaker of the language, that I was kind of the victim in a sense or whatever, because he was always drilling my head about how to say this and say that. Well, they got in a big fight about this, because Victor goes, I have documents from the 1870s from Hoopa Valley, a list of words that people collected or whatever. And he said, a Dene person, if they're in a certain situation on a certain day and the event's unfurling in a certain way, they will say that verb exactly the way it's happening. Just like when he said, all the kids are playing in unison versus the kids are playing separately. So that requires a different verb form, right? And if they're running up the hill versus down the hill, they're running outward or inward, or they're running together against each other, all that information gets trunked into that word. And he goes, that word may never be used again, because it never will fit that exact event that happened at that moment in time. But when they say it, everybody knows what they mean. See? And so he said, so no, Vic, no, Tom, you don't get to just take a word and you don't like this part and just erase it. No, that's there for a reason, and it got crystallized, got fossilized into that. So it was a blast watching these two wizards fight it out. Because they're two brainiacs, right? And they're big old professors, and they've written, bunches of paper, and they're big old PhDs, and there's like fire going through the air, And finally Tom's like, okay, I get it. And he finally conceded to Victor, because Victor just kept kicking his hind end. Because every example he tried to come up with, Victor was, and just leveled it. And so particularly with our grammar, you don't get to just take parts out of it and clean up the data, because every consonant means something in this language. The t, look at that, the t means passive. Right? You know what I mean? That one t means passive in the right position.
When Jim Collins was here, I felt like when he spoke English, I listened to him, I couldn't understand him, because his language, his register seemed so, the vocabulary he used and the way he said stuff it was like Greek to me, almost like.
Yeah, he was talking shop,
Oh,
right?
yeah,
The linguistic shop, right? Probably, And the same would be with an attorney today or a doctor, Well, then was no different then, And to be an Indian doctor, a high-class D-nun, you had to know every joint and every bone, every organ, a part of the body to heal it. See that vocabulary? Where's all that vocabulary?
Where would they be on
The
social
D-nun,
structure?
the D-nun are right in here. They're like the D-nun would be like right over in this area. They're kind of like in a D-nun, okay, the healers. They're high. They're very high. And then right down here, below here, would be like your, what do you call those, the, there's little,
Like their assistant or?
well, no, the Drachen were people that were artisans.
Oh.
So if you needed a canoe built, or if you needed a woodpecker roll fashioned, these people had very specific knowledge, and they were hired for their expertise. So they were like the artisan class, or the guild, the workers guild maybe, or I don't know, it's compared to today's world. So there was a class of people here, the Trahan, the people you paid for their service. So the D-nun, the Indian doctors, the shamans, right, and the Trahan. So they all floated around up in here, These people had full marriage. These people could have, if they needed to, half marriage. Those kinds of things happen. But they were still legally married, they were just half married.
Did you say one of our ancestors, the grandfather couldn't afford the dowry, so the children were considered illegitimate because they never could afford what she was worth?
No, that was at Requa.
Oh, okay, I remember you telling that.
Right, and the family was so wealthy that even though he paid as much as that would be way beyond a normal person's range, he could never legitimize his own children. I mean,
even though they were married.
I mean, yeah, they were married,
but
and he was their father, and he paid big cash, but it was not enough to meet and so they had a bunch of bastards, a bunch of bastards from that, even though they weren't legal, but they just couldn't legitimize it, I mean. Yeah, so that's how steeped our culture was. I mean, it was amazing, how it was at that time. Anyway, so I think speech register goes along with all of that, kind of back to this where we were. But you might be thinking of when I was sharing that when Joe Hostler and John Hostler were brothers, right, from Hawanquet, and they went to Enchua to buy wives. Yeah, it was big flat, and so they had to go back 3 times. See, the first time they went, the dad said, "Whatever, are you joking?" And so they went back to Hawanquet, and then they gathered up more stuff and came back, and he shooed them away again. And then the third time they came back, he goes, "Okay, now we can talk business," And so then they bought Julitra and Augusta, the 2 sisters. And then they married 2 brothers. That's Hawanquet. So that's negotiated out ahead of time. as a part of the whole negotiation part for this whole structure that existed at that time. So that's how we get to be related to all those people.
What's the Drew light trait on who? What's his other sister's name?
Tree, quest, knock.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah.
Tree quick?
Tree,
That's the right.
quest, knock.
I guess I just hated it.
Yeah, tree, quest, knock. And her sister was true live trick. Two passives that work.
Yeah.
So we got
If they are working effort.
true
Yeah. You can also
live
move down if you're lazy.
trick. Okay.
And
so-
Drew light trait was siblings to
Or I
Sudaju?
say if I was rich, if I was rich and you were my son and you kept doing a bunch of bad things to people, I would keep paying people. Like we might become low class people because
And
we
there
no
were
longer
5
have
more
money
kids. But
and no one respects
so
us anymore
Sudachu through live
my
trick.
son
So
was an
what's
idiot.
sweet about this? We
Killed
were just
people
talking
and
about passes.
insulted
Check
people
out this.
or was lazy.
I'll show you
Put all the
this.
resources and
Yeah.
disrespecting.
Yeah. Because it wasn't like every single word that came out of your mouth you were responsible for. And if you said something bad to anybody, you were responsible for it.
So earlier we were saying trulu means fishing, and it turned to trulu. So you recognize that? So then this has been changed to trulu. Okay, and then they've added something out here. This means female, lady. Okay, or woman. Okay. All right. So because you can't name somebody, you can't take a noun or a verb in our language and use it exactly. You have to modify it a little bit to make it a name, right? So instead of true, lu, tret, it turned this to lie. Okay, now that name belongs to her. She carries this for her life, right?
Do you want to take it right now?
Okay, yes, thank you for the reminder. And so true Tret is now her name, and she carries that for the rest of her life. She's not true Tret, which could be. She's not true Lune, she's not true Lune, she's true Tret. True Tret, and it sounds nice too. True Tret, So and then this is tray kwasna is the huge drying tray. It's open woven. The small ones are called kasi, plate. Right? These are the big ones, tree kwasna, and they just changed that number to tree kwesna. See? So it's not. So her name is tree kwesna, not tree kwasna. So that becomes her name. Yeah. Anyway, so this is naming. Now that's how it goes off in a little different vein, But this is inflection. Let's see. I'm trying to think about how you say it. Just when you come back, I'm going to go to the store and I'm going to come back. Na-nish-dish. So na-nish-dish. So, no, there's one here. No-nish-dish. Yeah, I'm heading back now. So, na-nish-dish, I'm going to head back to where I came from. So this is the go part. So, and this also is a noun. Dush is the word for the prairie chicken. The big prairie chickens. Their name is dush chuk because they scatter.
So that's what that.
Yeah. So she'd say dush.
Yeah, they
Get
all
out of
get to
here.
run.
They'd all run.
Hide.
Hide from the government. Yeah. Yep. That's that. Okay. So what I wanted to continue on here for the last few minutes of class today is take a better, clearer look at syntax. Okay. So, do most of you have paper? I've just brought blank paper if you don't have paper. But, so what I wanted to actually do, and what I've done here, is I put them in order. So, you'll see it says, number 1 is says talk, number 2 is just talk, number 3 is yuti, number 4 is yuti kai, number 5 is yuti mushtanti, 6 is tahumpti, did I skip one? Yeah. I did. 7 is nongitna, and then 8 would be nogitna. Excuse me, I got out of order, didn't I? And this was nogitna and nogitna kai. So all I wanted to show that for you is this.
But I need it.
Oh, okay. He wants just and that on her. Okay, so the basic thing I want to start with today, though, and also the next down below, you see I've got page numbers 83, 88, 100, and so forth. The reason why the noun has no numbers is because the book is full of nouns, and I couldn't list. There's a bunch of nouns in here, like for the birds, the body parts, food and all that stuff, those are all nouns. So I didn't bother trying to show you that, because they're all out the book. So, what I want us to start with is a kernel sentence. Okay, so if we go to page, in general, if we go to page in our book, to page 108. Okay, so a kernel sentence. Okay, so what is a kernel sentence? When you're studying a language, you want to find out what the simplest sentence there can be in the language, and it's just how the language functions. So what is a simple sentence? The simplest kernel, like a kernel corn. What's the simplest sentence there can be? Well, what we kind of figured out already in a way is I could just capitalize this verb, right, and go na, sh, da. And that means I am running. Okay, so really, what are you doing? No stop. What are you doing? I'm running. So really, that is a sentence because it has the subject, I, it has the verbal act of running, right? So that's a complete sentence. So that really is the shortest sentence in our language, really. You see what I'm saying? I mean, that type. You can take a verb. If I was talking, you go, what are y'all doing? Na reichta, we are all running. See? So just for comparison, I'll put that up just so you can see it. Na reichta.
So any verb is the simplest sentence.
Really? Yeah.
Say that again, Bree.
Any verb is the simplest sentence.
Yep. Yeah. See, not nashta, na reichta. We're all running, you know. What are y'all doing? Na reichta. We're all going for a run, you know. Heading out the door right now, kind of thing. Okay? All right. So really a kernel sentence is that. Which is really different than, say, if we would approach English, right? You'd have to say, I am running, right? So this is a pronoun, right? That'd be a pronoun. This here's the copular verb, and this is the verb, right? So that's how you have to compose that same thought in English, right? It's a very different approach. Now, so now there's something you need to be aware of too. If you look, the next thing down on 108 says predicate. A predicate. Now this is very important. Thank you, dyslexia. I love you too. Can we do it again? Predicate. Okay, a predicate sentence, I should put it that way, so we can get clarity here. Sentence is that because we don't require am, I am running, you are running, we don't require the copular verb. This is a copular verb. You are running, we are running, they did run.
Like
That's
is.
He is running. That's the copular verb. It's the verb to be in English, right? We don't require that in this language. So what happens is when you say, you can take an adjective, for example. An adjective does, what's its job? It describes a noun, right? That's its job. So in English, if I say, the apple is red, right? That's a complete sentence in English. So we've got the article, we've got the noun, we've got the copular verb, and then we've got red, the adjective, right? Well, what's interesting in Dee-ni is that you can just say the color, and it turns into a verb. So how I define the predicate is actually an adjective and a verb at the same time. Okay? And the example of that is, so, a plus is apple, and the word street means red. So apple, red. You don't have to say apple is red. The apples are red. It doesn't, our language does not function that way. So I want you to be aware of that. And that's what a predicate means. See? So this is a nice kernel sentence because you actually you can say the apple is running. That would be a sentence, right? Or, in a child's book, right? But the apple, red. See? And so when we try to teach kids to go to is running, get rid of the is. Am running, get rid of that. Are running, get rid of that, and just use the verb.
Well, that's really helpful with me because I've had a block of trying to communicate really basic things with Kakoi because I'm like thinking about the is and that stuff. So, cause I was thinking I was doing it wrong if I would just say a bunch of treat.
A plus trig is a perfect sentence.
Well, and I have thought all up until now, like, cause I'm that whole fear of like doing it wrong.
Right, and teaching the wrong thing.
That I wasn't.
Yeah, you weren't.
I was like,
Exactly.
oh, I did.
Right. And so all the adjectives, tall, round, heavy, light, dark, black, pink, whatever, they don't require the copular verb. So you can change this with anything. A plus nace, the apple's long. A plus shun, the apple is black, you know. And then you could, yeah, whatever. So this is
You would
the,
have to do key for the.
you can,
You don't have to.
you don't have to. And so in linguistics they teach you this. This means optional. So you can say the apple, a plus treat. The apple is red. And yes, we have the, right? But it's not mandatory. See, that's why it's in parentheses. Now some speakers, like
What's that
really, it means the.
Would that put you in the upper?
Well, I'm not sure. It might. Amelia Brown used Lee a lot. I mean, she loved Lee. I mean, that was just something that was in her day-to-day speech. Lee, just Lee, whatever. She used Lee a lot. And some other people didn't as much. But it's not required to make a legal sentence in Dee-ni. Okay. So there you go. So now, so then another sentence. So that's the difference just between like why. These are called predicate sentences because they don't require the verb to be, right? It's not there.
So apple is what again? I'm just
apple. It's a borrowing from English.
And how's that pronounced?
A plus.
A plus.
A plus.
A plus.
A plus. So then this would be the, and you don't need the is, are.
Okay, I have a question.
Uh-huh.
So he likes to eat apples on a fork. That's how he eats his apples.
Okay.
Stick a fork in it and he eats it.
Alright.
So how would I say that?
That to
Apple on a fork. Would I have to
oh, the
say?
apple's on the fork.
Would I have to say on a fork?
Then yes, that's a postposition. Okay, so
You're confused.
Oh, okay.
so we a plus what? A strong.
What? Nay.
What? Oh wait, what's J-tron? That's the table.
He just tested me in class.
Let me see. Yeah.
That's what you're.
Must. Yeah, sorry about that. Must J-tron.
What day?
What ne? Huh?
Nine.
Okay.
Now what this is though, this is a postposition though.
Yeah.
This is not a copular verb. This means on it. So this is a postposition. Now, if you say a plus,
Must you try fork?
yeah, is on it. Net means on it. Yeah. Yeah. Or what like is just on. So if I say the apple's on the table, so it'd be a plus what J? Oh wait, the apple would be the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. I was trying to think of the bird. I mean the stick hit him on the leg. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is that's a postposition though. See, that's what we call prepositions in English, postpositions in this language. Okay, and it just tells you where. This is the at word. It could so we teach it like this, right? What
Quay.
or que, what.
Quan.
Quantum is to enshroud it, right? Go on. Ni
Michi. Michi.
Look at me, chink, ye, unten, meeten, me, unt. Those are all postpositions. And there's more than that in the language, but those are just how you teach it, showing your kids. So, jayash, say, quit, dasta. Jayash, quit, chatra, ye, unten, dasta. The birds under the table. Jayash, quit, chatra, unten, dasta. The birds on the side of the table, Yeah, so you can so then you learn all the postpositions. That's what that is. That's a postposition. Yep. But there is, and we now just
There's no
there isn't. Now, now, to make us, well, I should have said it now. There is though, a way to say I am. Just the verb itself, there is an am verb, but you don't ever use it very often. It's very interesting. And it's the verb in link, for example. So that just means be, okay? But it's you don't ever use it with another verb. It's by itself. Like if I'd say,
Like datla simply.
that's, yeah, but, okay, so, I'm not gonna be there. So you're gonna come to the house, but I'm already gonna be gone, right? I'm not gonna be there. So du hat, not there, nashling, te. So there is a way to get there, but it's very rare. Du hat, nashling, te. Well, no, make sure. Okay, nashling. So du hat, nashling. I'm not gonna be there. I gotta say. So not there, I be. But see, this is like such a rare construction in the language. I mean, and this is the only time you use this verb to be. So just ne du hat nling, the man was not there. Du hat nling, huh? You're not there. Du nashli, I am not there. This is the rare case. So the verb to be does exist in the language, but you don't have to say, you know, like here, eighth but shriek nling. That's the whole point.
Or like Dee-ni, nashni.
Dee-ni, nashli, I am. Yes, I'm Dee-ni. I.
What about like
That's it works there.
in the introductions, a long time ago, we were like doing naturally like my name is or I am.
Well, now if you say my name is quite Trek, and if you're saying, then you just say this. Shushi. See, it's a predicate.
But then say she wants to say she's from.
I'm from Nili Chandan.
Nili
Then you say Nili Chandan Deni Nashli. Yeah. Yeah. See, that's when it flocks into place. But it's really rare. It's not something you use every day. It's in those kinds of things. That's where that's at. Anyway, end of the sentence. Okay. 99.99% of the time, the verb is always on the end. So, the kernel sentence could be what? So, link. Dog, right? Dog. Okay, the dog running. You don't have to put no is in there, right? So this means in English, the dog is running. Okay, that's what that means.
But that's a tilde, right? Not an N, or is it an N? Yeah.
In. Okay, think. Okay. So think nashta. So this is probably your core basic sentence. Now can you see how think nashta and apostrik are the same? Why it's a predicate sentence? Because this adjective turns into a verb. You see what I'm saying? It's a verb and an adjective at the same time. That's the predicate sentence and a kernel sentence. That's in the verb sentence. That's the only difference. This is using an adjective to finish the sentence, and this is using a verb. And they're both legal. Okay, they both are perfect sentences in the language. Just so you're aware of that.
Wait,
Okay.
chew, is that like our frogs jumped real big back then or something?
Well,
Because
so-
it's over the horse, isn't it?
So que,
Okay, is that?
think chew. So think chew is a horse, right?
Yes.
But I think we think the
Yeah,
theory
yeah.
is the thinking is that this is actually this actually underneath here is play chew. So it has some, see, because when you combine, we talked about how things change by
Yeah.
being in proximity last couple of months ago. So when you go chew, it crunches down and becomes chew. See, this vowel raises up to this sound. So really, it's probably not a horse at all.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
that makes more sense.
yeah,
'cause
it's,
that
yeah,
makes
see,
sense.
but still, what does clan mean by itself? Well, chew we know means big,
Yeah, big,
right?
yeah.
You know that? And then chew, it means like in chua, see, in chua is, big, right? So nush chu, I'm big, nush chua, I'm big, you can get that out of there. But the clan usually means over, like, or together. So like if you put, I scooped it all together, that'd be chle. That's why the word chle is meeting. So you're coming together.
Oh, okay.
See, chle is a fork of a river because it's coming together. See, so chle, So, kwe, over, len, chu. So, over there, there's a bunch of something all coming.
Well, when they breed, they do.
Or even when they
Horses, doesn't
hibernate
it?
though, when
Yeah.
tree frogs hibernate.
They all pile
Yeah,
up.
and there's like 300 of them all stuck in there. Maybe they're talking about that.
Or maybe it's bodies over its big legs, or.
So it's probably
That's interesting,
it's a
yeah.
completely different history, but on the surface,
It looks like
it sounds like over the horse.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but really it's not. See, what that is called folk etymology. What we just went through is folk etymology, because we're taking our knowledge, and so, well, chu is a horse, and way means over, so it's over the horse. But if you bust it apart at a different level in grammar study, you realize, oh, this means two different things that sound the same. It's just like asparagus. The folk etymology story is asparagus is sparrow grass. And it got trumped into asparagus. See, that's called folk etymology. Now, really, when you do that, we have to go back and look at the word asparagus, find its Latin roots or Greek roots, whatever it is, and see where it unfurled in the German, I'll pick some culture, the German culture, and they were the first ones to grow them or whatever, and then Old German asparo, gasse meant this, you know, and then, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So then we get the real underneath meaning. But we just, oh, it means sparrow grass, turned into asparagus. We're going to say that's for an example. Yeah. Yeah, so this is called parsing. What you do with a word, when you want to find its meaning, you have to parse it. So you take all of the elements of it and you just pick it apart. And then you start, oh, this part, and this part, and that part. And then you put the phonological rules to it. Oh, so when something is followed by an N, it raises it always to an E. So there's a phonological rule for that. You can see other words in the language where that is true. See what I'm saying? And that becomes a phonological rule. See what I'm saying? So when a vowel is followed by N, it becomes, it raises up to that. See? That's the phonological rule.
That makes more sense than over the horse.
Over a horse, yeah.
Or
yeah.
a big dog.
Or yeah, because chew is, yeah, because now see, going the other direction, we know hink is dog. And then when they first saw the first horses from the Spanish is what we hear, right? The theory is, then they go big dogs. So what does that tell you what our dogs must have looked like? They must have pointed ears, you know, or something.
Brady McVeigh telling me that.
Yeah, so hink chew, man, that's a big dog. See, so it became hink chew. Right there, poof, a new word was born. Right there. But now hink we know is old. It is so doggone old. It's even like in central Canada. It's clear down in Navajo.
Oh, really?
And yeah, they got hink also. Yeah, so it's like, So we were all at the campfire together when that word was coined. You know, we long thousand, whatever it was, we were all around the same fire. That was a hink then. See, and then we moved apart and we stayed hink. So this is not new. This is a very, very ancient word. See. Now, if you want to pick it apart, you go, see, there's a sound. Okay, you put lines in. And then, this means possession. So we know it's possessed, right? You owned, not possessed. You know. You know what I mean? So then you kind of go, oh, well, maybe if we went like this, link means to be. I've done this before, that's why I'm doing it. But, I mean, it's why. So what if it's like nashlin, to be with, means to cause something to happen. So maybe when we domesticated it from the wolf, it became ours, you know, possibly. So lean, and then we own it. Yeah, made it ours, made it something, made it be what it was, because it wasn't just a wolf anymore, right? Chased deer for us, and did this and did that, you know, as our pet, defended us against the bear, the cougar, or the saber-tooth tiger. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So anyway, yeah. So that's the difference between you know, parsing and folk etymology, and then pulling it all apart and looking at its history. You know, and kwe, we're assuming means over. That's a pretty good assumption. You know, kwe sen chu. Well, I've unfortunately cut down a tree fell over. It was a big apple tree and it had a big hollow core in it. You know, it fell over. So okay, it's time to cut up the tree, and we cut it open, and there must have been 300 tree frogs living in that core. You know what I mean? It was like, what are we gonna do now? You know, we ruined their house, you know, for the winter, because they went there to hide for the winter and then come out in the spring, right? It was a bummer.
Is that the one you just cut down?
No,
When
dude,
did
this was
this
when I was a kid. When I was a kid.
Is that the one that caught on fire?
No, that was a different tree.
We have to
Oh,
go
you
through
know,
the fire and the frogs.
You know, like experiences.
Which tree story was that?
It was Uncle Tommy and Dad and our husband going, ah, look at all the frogs in there. So we scooped them all up and put them in another tree, hoping they'd survive somehow. Because we already cut it in half. It was like, anyway.
Hopefully it was almost green, right?
Huh?
It was almost green.
Yeah, it was close. Yeah, they weren't moving very fast. But
Wake up, Birdie, wake up, Birdie.
So these are kernel sentences. So then, as you can, what I tried to develop in this a little bit for us is then how you start adding new participants in the syntax. So how do you modify a sentence now? Okay. So the next one you see, I put down here. Oh, first before I scoot on. Oh, I took it off. Oh, no, here it is. So non-like stuff. So now if I wanted to make this somehow all of the apples are red, I'm gonna have to put another word in here. Like if I look over there and then every apple over on that table is red. There's not a green one, my favorite ones aren't there, right? So you'd add like hui, or hui a. See, well, I was gonna show you this. So the verbal one, so if I say, chestnut, right, man, nafta, what does that mean? Okay, so in English,
Running.
the man, yeah, man running. Mm-hmm.
Then run.
Man is ready. You can see it.
So now, what does that sentence mean? Chestnut nagasta. So we got chestnut nafta, now we got chestnut nagasta. What would that mean in English? So the man is running in English. So yeah, so the men, so this would become, in English this changes to men. See, this is man here in English, right? And it becomes men because in English we pluralize some of the nouns, right? Man, men, woman, women, tooth, teeth. We don't do that in Dee-ni.
3D, easy.
You know what I mean? You don't do that. This
You
is
don't have to
happening.
change it.
Yeah,
Same
we don't
thing.
add S to a thing. We don't do nothing. We
For
don't.
trees or
Yeah,
cats.
yeah. So
dogs.
chestnut is chestnut, no matter if there's 10 chestnut or 1 chestnut. It's all chestnut. But you change the verb now. This is a man running. So nishni chestnut nafta. Look, a man is running. Nishni chestnut nagafta. The men are running. But you don't change the noun. The noun stays static. And you change the verb. Okay. All right. So you so this is why you have to know how to inflect your verbs, right? And legally you could say hui nafta too. And what was our little discussion earlier?
Register.
And why might this be the case? Or yeah, could be registered.
Inclusive or
Yeah.
one of it.
Yeah, maybe they're all running together in a pack, and over there they're running that way and that way and that way. See.
And then just for my own purposes, was running.
So then it would be nagasta. So
Past tense.
Blow your brain away.
We haven't got that far.
A little bit of time.
there it is, right here.
Well, I can't help it.
Okay, there it is. So just nagasta. The men ran. The man ran is right here. Nasta. We just nasta. He did run. It's over. Okay. Just nasta. Just nagasta. They did run. Okay. That's the past tense, the perfected marker. It's over with. Yeah. And that's on that chart over there. You look. Yeah. All right. So kernel sentence. Now let's the next little layer I've got going here to kind of build it up a little bit of time is the postposition to humpty.
Oh.
The humpty. So it's interesting now how we got away with saying just nafta, perfectly good sentence, right? The man is running. The man runs, right? It's fine. But you can add the postposition, and a lot of the speakers I grew up with didn't use postpositions a lot. You know, like if I say the man's running there, I kind of want more information, right? It sounds kind of funky. If I just say the man is running, if I say the man's running there, and your mind's kind of going, like where or how or something. But so predicates, I mean postposition. So if I a good sentence though.
So in a practical use, like the movie Running Man, would you say
Nafta?
Narcos? Chest? Because the movie was called Running Man.
Oh, so just ne nafta. Or you could pacify this to natrasta, the running man.
The Running
Then you
Man.
can make it into a noun, go, just ne natrasta, the running man. See, using that passive, the TR that's on that chart.
Mhm.
Natrasta. Just ne, the name of the movie is Just ne natrasta, the running man.
Yeah.
See, nominalize means to make it into a noun, nominalize it. So just ne hu nafta, now this is a complete sentence. This is like got the postposition in it, see? There. The man's running there. If I say just ne hawant nafta, what does that mean? Hawant.
Along there?
Not upon, close. What is
Along.
Sit.
Along there?
along there? Yeah. Just ne's running along there. See? Just ne hu hawant nafta. He's running different than just ne hu nafta is the man running there. Just ne hawant nafta. Just ne quat nafta. Now you might want to place. The man's running on something. So he's running on the hill, he's running on the road, he's running on the wherever. See? But these are postpositions. They sit in this slot. So it's the owner of the verb, the subject. Here's the verb, and then there's this postposition slots right there. Okay? So he could run in. You just name meet nafta. He's running in. Okay, you can do that too. Me chin behind. Me in front. He's later. I mean he's losing.
No.
He's
Normalize
losing.
that, and that will AJ
How long you been doing this now?
I'm just saying you're just late.
So the man's see now you just said the man's running behind. Our mind, you have to say he's running late. See now if he's because he'd say do nush, he's late. That's if he's going to an appointment, right? But if he's losing, he's running in the rears. He's running behind everybody.
Right.
Yeah, so you do use that meaning chink, which means behind. So he's running behind everybody in the competition. But do he's late. So it's late for the meeting. So now, to use hawant correctly, the man, the man, the road along there is running. So he's running along there on the road. See? Hawant. Yeah. Where do you know this word from? Hawant. Holland what? That's the base of Holland what.
And then add what, which is what you're talking about.
Yeah, you got a verb. I mean, you got a noun. See how that turned into a noun? What? So, what is that telling you about the village? Holland.
Went along there.
Along there, a pond. It's up on high ground. It's above the flood zone. It's a nice bench of land. Holland. So it's describing the geography of the mouth of the river. Holland.
Okay, Hosley, that's it.
Hostly. Up it flows.
And it really does right there.
Yeah, Hostly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's a postposition turned into a noun. Yeah. So the just want nafta. The man's running along the road. Okay. So these are postpositions. Tahumpti means the place or there. They're called locatives in linguistics because locatives comes from the word location. Location, locative. See? So they're locatives. They tell you where it's happening. Okay. Not how, where. What? Yay, gone, mean, met, so on. Okay, so moving on down our little algorithm here, supposed to be an algorithm. Our quantifiers comes from the word quantity, right? So now we want to quantify, add a quantifier, okay? So we want to change something about the number, okay? So a few men are running, see? Many men are running. See, so what's in here?
Many, I think.
I was looking.
No, okay. So,
Requires if he is one or two.
What's a number?
okay, now, before I write the verb over here, I'm going to ask you a question. So just say lan. Okay, running is nafta, right? But because we've added the word many, What verb am I gonna put up there, everybody? Am I gonna put nafta or nagafta? And why? Yeah, right, because it's many. Because if I said just ne shlan nafta, one man, many is running. See, that makes sense, right? See, so it's gotta be, you've gotta use either hui nafta or nagafta, one or the other. Okay, so it'd be, so let's do this time, this way.
And that means there's many men are running everywhere.
Yeah, could be. Yeah, with the theory's correct, because this is a, yeah, so you can just say there's men running everywhere.
Well, you wouldn't need Sean, because the.
Yeah, but if you were just saying it for the sake of saying it, like, yeah.
Because shlong can mean 4, can mean 400.
Right, see, Tlon could mean, 1,000 men are running out there, see?
So it's a lot more than just
Yeah, so you're,
they, like 3 or 4.
like if I said this though, if I said dawi, but like dawi, this means a few. So a few men are running, you know.
So you're saying many is more than 10?
Probably more than.
Well, it's just an
Yeah.
extra information.
Yes, it's like you're looking at a pretty good clustering of folk, right? So dawi's a few, you know, just ne da, there's a few men running today. See, dawi just ne not that ishri, just a few men are running. Just ne shlan, we not that ishri, lots of men are running today.
They're like a running event.
Like more of a running event, exactly. So this here, so these, so what kind of words are these? What are they modifying?
The
What?
noun.
They're modifying the noun, so in English they're known as
I have no idea. But
adjectives.
adjectives.
Can you help me with your math
Let me
though?
pull that really quick so I can do my Mad Lib.
So adjectives modify the noun. Adjectives modify the noun.
They
Okay?
change the noun.
They change how the noun appears or looks or something. You can, so you could say, what if I said here, just ne shriek? Oh,
The red men.
yeah, the red men are, they're running. Yeah, just ne shriek nafta, yeah.
Do 2 adjectives, it's okay to put a
Okay, so the just ne,
many red men are running.
ne,
Or tall men.
shriek,
Dawi.
dawi,
That's a few.
few, dawi. So I said just ne shriek, hui nafta, so there's a whole bunch of tall red men running out there.
Does it matter which order you?
Yeah, you see, just ne shriek nes, hui nafta, just ne shriek.
It's okay.
Doesn't matter. You're adding 2 adjectives there. And you could say shlan, just ne, now I'd want to say though, just ne shriek shlan. That seems like what's more over here for some reason. So many tall red men are running.
Calm down.
Why are you trying to make it rain again? Are they Sue?
Very close.
How do you spell that? S-E-E? Or is it Psyox? It's Psyox. There you go, Sue and Sue. Yeah, so that's adjectivization, where you're adding an adjective to a noun, adjectivization, okay? Now, numbers, well, we gotta quit. But what's next? Those numbers next? No. Oh, wait, what's the quantifiers? That's adjectives, quantifiers.
You did them together, adjectives and quantifiers.
Okay, so I didn't, numbers aren't in here. Oh, wait, numbers right here.
You did them. Oh.
Yeah, it's okay, under plurality. I was thinking about plurality. So, now, numbers, on the other hand, so if this is your noun, right? And this is your verb, and here's your adjective, here's your postposition, right? So you add numbers on this side, always. The number always precedes the noun, okay? So instead of saying, you know, like, so 3
Blind mice.
blind mice.
See how they run.
Okay, so kafe, slum e, lowercase here. Kafe, shoot, let me get out of here. Slum e, do, I want you to write it better.
Do
E. 3 blind mice, what?
See how they run?
Oh.
Exactly, I was thinking the same thing.
Okay.
Remember that line, all the members who
Okay,
blind.
kafe, Nam e dush on in po nagata. So we got 3. Oop. 3. I'm going to put this on purpose. Mouse. Blind. There. Third plural run. I'll do it that way. Okay, they are running. So I put mouse on purpose because I want you to realize you never change this noun ever in this language. There's no such thing as pluralized noun. Nowhere. It's mice, mouse, man, men, women, apple, apples. It's all one word. It never. You change the words around it. You never change that
It's
word.
not meat.
Not nieces.
So meese would be one, right?
Wait,
Oh wait, then, is meese plural or singular? I don't know.
Mice, meese,
Meese.
mouse.
Tomato,
I
tomato.
think that's a made up word you would just use.
I think nieces is made up. It's a cartoon word.
Okay. But you know what? If you use it in speech and it means something to somebody else, it's a real word.
If you use it long enough, then it'll be adopted by the whole
It could
society.
be a dialect. It could be just a dialect, right? Okay, just always
That's a word
remember.
now.
There you go.
Always remember this
It's a new word.
thing that the number always precedes whatever the noun's going that you're modifying. Adjectives go behind, and numbers come before. So it's a $3 bill, you know, a $2 bill, a $1 bill. You know, it's 1 o'clock. It's always the 1 comes before the o'clock. It's just always does. You never put the number over here.
it's the same as in English.
Exactly, same as you. But it's kind of nice because it doesn't confuse. Because on this side you got your numbers, on this side you got your adjectives. Yeah. Yeah. Then you got your postpositions and your verb over here.
How do you say it's 5 o'clock somewhere?
I know what that means.
Yeah. Oh, darn, it's not here though, huh? Okay, so that E is somewhere. That E.
You need to eat.
Okay, so somewhere 5 o'clock, and there's no is. See, don't say no. See, and there you're learning. See, so you don't have to say it is 5 o'clock somewhere. That is schwela, Miss Tom.
5 o'clock.
5 o'clock someplace. Yeah. So that is schwela, Miss Tom. Hey, eat shush. Let's all have a drink.
That's
Are we
pretty
done?
long.
Love this
Huh?
stuff.
Without the
So we'll be
is
safe
and
at the end of the day.
Yeah, I've done it. And yeah.
That's when I'm
And
gonna.
you're like, oops.
Instead of goodbye, we'll be saying
That's,
it.
that's,
Yeah.
That'll be my.
Because I'll see
first
that without is.
Well, it's just like when
No,
I
there's
was.
no is.
It's 'cause you're dating,
No.
no.
That's the point, there's no.
Well, when I went to college,
Yeah,
I said something like, we're gonna go set net, we're gonna go set net. And they hated that. You're gonna do what? You're gonna set the net. Go set net. It's like a whole word in itself. It means something to us, you know. But that's not is, but it's the same kind of word. Go set. We're gonna set net. Set net. It's not go set the net. She made me with the la and everything.
Well, is that like with people that live in Hoopa, we're gonna go uptown?
Out town, yeah.
Oh.
Up in here. I mean, up in here. You know what I'm saying? Up in here. Up in here. Out town, up in here. There you go. Okay, until next time.
He met Lost Lady.
Then we call this the ghost N. We can't describe him. So it's saying the place where the trail descends between the rocks.
Okay.
That's at Peacock Flat,
That makes
right?
sense,
Se Tregintum. It's where the trail goes down between the boulders to the river.
Oh.
Se Tregintum, it's Peacock Flat.
Oh.
There's a village there too. Yeah. So Se Tregintum, and then Munshreimer and Taktukut. That was the 3 villages.
So where the trail goes down to the river?
Yeah.
Wait,
Through the rock.
Well, yeah, Se Tregintum.
Oh,
After.
So there was nothing where, I know there's always a debate on where Walker Hole is. You know where we used to go swimming when all of us used to be together
Yeah,
and
the
we come
bluff.
off the rock?
Yeah. Well,
Let's
across the
call
river.
that Walker Hole.
Right, because the Walkers had a house
Yeah.
on the other side of that.
And then
point.
people called, no, that's Peacock Flat.
To
And I
Peacock
know
Flats.
Peacock
Yeah.
Way up the river,
Yeah.
yeah. And see, but across from the bluff you're talking about, where that house is now, that's Montreal. It hits the bowl
House is
bluff,
right on
and
it.
it swings around
Oh,
like
down
this,
river.
right
Down
there,
river,
and there's a
yeah.
flat.
That's Montreal.
That's
If you turn left
Montreal.
instead of going to Brunding, the right, you
Yeah,
turn left.
that's where we're going to allow this more.
Okay.
Yeah. That was great.
So wouldn't it be fair if we would just kill them all
So
off
where,
and
where,
reclaimed
when
it?
we jump off the rock, where's that?
Yes.
That's what they did to
There
our
was
family.
nothing?
Nothing.
It was just the
Geography.
the river full of,
If we're going to be real fair, we went to all the men left and
You
older,
mean like
Say,
walk
Trey,
to all the
bluff,
younger
I mean?
people left,
huh?
and
Walk
killed
over
the
bluff.
Yeah.
old people
I don't know the name
and the
for it.
children.
Now, the
No,
hole
it'd
in
be
front of
made the
Montreal,
children are slick.
all deep holes are called
That would be fair.
right? Anywhere there's a deep hole, it's
Because I would
That would be a Oh, definitely. Because Amelia Brown told us about when they were building the fish dam in the Indian settlement, when a huge school of fish.
It's only
people
fair,
got-
right?
They got done, right? And they were at the end of finishing it, they were working the whole time, but they get it done. The women would all go up in canoes, and they would get wet gravel, put it in the bottom of the canoe, and they'd build a fire in it. And then they'd all go up and they'd get boulders about this big, and they'd make them hot.
Fish would go back down.
Then they'd go up to Brunding Hole, or to Walker Hole, or to Montreal Hole, and then they would just take, paddles, and they'd throw all those boiling rocks into the river, and it would just bubble, sizzling going down. The fish would get scared, and go back down the river and just swamp the
Fish dam.
weir, the fish dam.
TK, they're one of them.
There you
Yeah,
go.
yeah, that's how that was.
That's really cool.
Yeah, because it's interesting because the drawing that Drucker has of the fish dam is more like a, because Uncle Chet described it to me because he got to see the last one, him and Ernie and them, but they would make like a row this way and a row this way, so there's a gap in the middle, so it was a two-part fence, so when they would jump over it, then they couldn't get out either way.
It was shaped like that.
Yeah, like this across the river.
Yeah, across the river,
So
instead of like one.
Yeah, it wasn't just a dam or where they all puddle up against the foot of it. It was actually two-sided. Yeah, like that, all the way across the river.
It's pretty much it's like the opening of a fish net.
Channel.
It's like the opening of
The prison.
The eel
no. It's opening the mouth of like any like a eel basket or a fish basket. It's the same thing.
Now Drucker, he draws it like this. He says it's like
Yeah, he did
like this.
like one side.
So I'm not sure if that's what Uncle was saying. It's like, so if this is the water coming down like this, so it sits like this in the river, like a two-walled thing again.
Going the
So
same
it
direction.
diverts.
Yeah, where Uncle was saying it was like, like this. If this was the bottom of the river,
Well,
and
that
the
makes
water
more sense
it
though.
was flowing through.
Because that way it's easier for the fish to get in,
Yeah,
but
they
they can't
go
get
jump
out.
this way or that way, and they had a spot in it where they put a big salmon basket that the men would weave. They were like this big around, and they were long, like about 15 feet long, like a big eel basket. So it had a funnel ending, and it went down long to a point, and they'd set it right in the dam, and it would fill up with salmon. They'd just pick it up, back to the shore, and
That must have been heavy.
Can you?
Yeah, really.
Yeah,
Barrett and Kroger.
yeah.
They didn't carry those
Those are
rocks
fish
around the
dam,
whole.
remember the fish trap?
That's right.
That's where, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, that was all Doc Cooper people. I mean, they all participated in that. Doc Cooper technique.
So they teach you a lot of this stuff.
Huh?
They